Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut through, well, all the information out there.
We dive deep, figure things out, and bring back what you really need to know.
Think of us as helping you cut through the noise. Today, we're looking at a stage of life many of you are in or maybe heading towards your 70s and 80s.
Yeah, we've been looking at this YouTube video. It's from a channel called Senior Heartfelt Wisdom.
Right. The title is, If You Are 70, 80 Years Old and Can Still Do the Following 8 Things, You Are a Rare Gem.
A rare gem. It's quite a claim.
Okay, let's unpack this, because it's more than just a list, isn't it?
Definitely.
Our goal today is to really get under the surface of these 8 things. What do they actually tell us about thriving, truly thriving, in your 70s and 80s?
What does it mean to be that rare gem?
Exactly. And maybe, how these things point towards not just living longer, but living, well, vibrantly. Living with energy and joy.
Beyond just surviving.
Absolutely. So the first thing the video brings up is good physical health and being able to look after yourself.
It calls this the greatest blessing, which feels pretty accurate when you think about getting older.
It really does.
And what's interesting is how it links that physical independence to, well, everything else. Your overall well-being.
It's not just about avoiding being sick.
No, it's about agency, control over your day. The video mentions that huge financial cost to needing care,
That $10,000 a month caregiver example? Wow.
Yeah, it's stark. But even beyond the money, think about the emotional side of needing help for, well, basic things.
Totally. And the video flips it too. It's not just avoiding being a burden. Good health means you can still do things.
Right. Cooking, shopping, maybe helping out your own kids sometimes. That sense of purpose, it's huge.
And then it brings in this idea of good mood as medicine.
That's a really key point.
Yeah.
It's easy to just think, be positive, but the video suggests it actually changes things physically.
How so?
No, a better demeanor overall, less stress, less anger, which builds a stronger foundation for health. Think about the flip side. Poor health.
Yeah.
It can strain families. And if, the support isn't quite there, it can get very lonely.
Right, which is a real fear for many people.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the video also shows that lots of people in their 70s and 80s are living really full lives.
Yeah, not just sitting around. Dancing, hiking, traveling, hobbies.
It challenges that whole idea of inevitable decline, doesn't it?
It does. And the advice it gives, stay happy, eat well, sleep well, rest, good mood, be open-minded, avoid anger, exercise. It's quite holistic.
It paints a full picture.
What's fascinating here is the interconnectedness of physical and mental well-being. It's not just about the body, but the attitude we bring to it.
Okay, so the second point moves to the mind. Staying sharp, being discerning, especially about scams. That feels crucial today.
It really does. This brings up critical thinking at all ages, but it's particularly crucial when vulnerabilities might increase. The video points out older adults can be targets.
For things like financial products, health supplement.
Exactly. And the results can be terrible. Losing savings, causing family problems, real harm.
The video gets specific about the tactics too, like free gifts or that emotional care thing to build false trust.
Or gratitude events. All designed to get personal info. And the advice is practical. Be wary of those unsolicited expert calls, the free checkups or lectures that are really sales pitches.
Tours that end up in high-pressure sales.
Right, or marketing stuff held outside proper businesses. The core message is stay clear-headed. Don't just pretend to be confused. Try to stay sharp.
Yeah, imagine the peace of mind knowing you can confidently navigate financial decisions. Spot those red flags.
That's a big part of feeling secure.
Which leads nicely into the third point.
Yeah.
Having enough money. Financial independence.
Independence from needing constant support from your kids, specifically.
That feels really fundamental for dignity, self-respect.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, financial autonomy contributes significantly to overall well-being and reduces intergenerational stress. The video mentions that fear, doesn't it? Outliving your money.
Yeah. And the awkwardness or even strain of having to ask your kids for help all the time. Especially if they're struggling, too.
Right. So having a pension, savings,
right, yeah.
It gives you control. You manage your life.
Yeah.
And owning your home adds another layer of that security.
Stability, not feeling dependent.
Exactly. The video suggests sort of supporting yourself mainly with maybe occasional help from family. That seems like a good balance to avoid conflicts over money.
Can you imagine the sense of security that financial independence brings, that feeling of, I've got this?
It's huge.
Okay, number 4. This one's about family dynamics, too. Smooth communication with your children.
Ah, yes. This touches on something potentially tricky. The video says some older people can become, well, disliked for always talking about the past or seeming out of touch.
That sounds harsh, but maybe realistic sometimes.
It could be. The video links old age sometimes with maybe a bit of fear or stubbornness in conversations.
So the advice is?
Be adaptable, empathetic. It stresses the value of that. And what's fascinating here is the focus on the reciprocal nature of relationships. Respect and good communication are earned, not just expected.
It's a two-way street.
Mm-hmm. And providing stable emotional value, like being strong when they're struggling, not just nagging that earns trust. And independence for everyone, grandkids included.
Think of emotional support as a currency that maintains strong family bonds, investing in the relationship.
Well put.
Point 5 is interesting, the presence of your original spouse.
Yeah, this raises an important question about the evolving nature of relationships in later life and the different needs and priorities that emerge. The video shared that story, Annette's story.
About caring for her husband, yeah. It highlighted that deep support you get from a long-term partner, even with limitations.
But it also contrasted that with couples who get together later in life.
Saying the bond might not be as deep, more about convenience.
Potentially. You use that phrase, husband and wife are birds of the same forest. When disaster strikes, they fly apart. A bit bleak, maybe.
It suggests even original couples can be swayed by benefits, let alone later partnerships where stability might be the main goal.
Right. That initial spark is hard to recreate. They've both been through hardships. They mainly need stability. The neighbor story kind of illustrated that, didn't it?
Yeah, the couple seemingly together for practical reasons, the man maybe not as happy. It really makes you think about the different layers of companionship, doesn't it?
It really does. Different needs, different histories.
Okay, number 6. Being a diligent learner. Being able to navigate, well, the modern world.
This feels essential now. If we connect this to the bigger picture, lifelong learning is key to maintaining independence and engagement with the modern world. Tech is everywhere.
And the video paints a picture of the struggle, right? Being lost outside, can't read signs, can't use your phone for info or payments.
That must feel incredibly frustrating, limiting.
So the advice isn't become a coding expert.
No. More like focus on practical things.
Right.
Social methods, travel tips. Using your phone for good info, paying bills online. Not just, gossip chains.
We all rely on our phones for so much these days. Imagine feeling lost without that knowledge. It's about staying connected and capable.
Exactly. Maintaining that interaction.
7th point, hobbies. Avoiding boredom, keeping that spark alive.
And what's fascinating here is the recognition of the fundamental human need for engagement and enjoyment throughout life.
Yeah.
That doesn't just stop.
Right. The video acknowledges that maybe vigorous exercise isn't for everyone anymore.
Or even dancing, maybe. But having good hobbies, things you genuinely enjoy,
Yeah.
that enriches life, no forcing it.
And it mentions keeping a playful spirit, even trying things you didn't dare do when you were younger.
Yeah, finding confidence, joy. It even mentions studies showing playful elderly people live longer.
Really?
Apparently so. The idea is that as physical or social abilities might decline, adaptability can too. Play helps fight that. Well, it trains brain agility, slows memory decline, helps breathing, circulation, fosters companionship, belonging, helps you escape loneliness, promotes mental clarity, longevity.
Wow. Lots of benefits.
And it gives examples, like Newton with soap bubbles, or that economist Jürgen Johan playing computer games and blogging.
It's inspiring to think about how something as simple as play can have such profound benefits. And that quote,
A person without a hobby cannot be friends with a person with hobbies.
it really highlights how interests connect us. Okay, last one. Number 8, having a broad heart, avoiding comparisons.
This one's about inner peace, really. If we connect this all, it paints a picture of successful aging that is holistic, encompassing physical, mental, social, and emotional well-being.
The video mentions that stereotype of older age, getting grumpy, minded.
Yeah, small temperaments, small perspectives, small minds, meaning big tempers, stubbornness. It says it's very rare for someone elderly to stay really open-minded.
So being that rare gem means accepting others, not being envious.
Exactly. Accepting imperfections, not envying success, not belittling your kids, not complaining constantly about money, not worrying endlessly about the future.
Just living today. Treating today as the best day.
That seems to be the core of it. And it adds that, being 70 isn't that old now, but don't be careless. Manage your life. Offer positive emotions. Be kind. Let happiness grow.
Ultimately, it seems like inner peace and acceptance play a huge role in thriving.